Problems involving linear inequalities in two variables. Yan ang ating pag-uusapan dito sa ating matsayang talakayan. Kaya, stay tuned! Hello, Grade 8 learners! For today's video, we will discuss problem solving involving linear inequalities in two variables. With the learning competency, solves problems involving linear inequalities in two variables. Now, let us first write each statement as a linear inequality in two variables. Number 1. The number of apples A more than twice the number of ponkans P is greater than 24. If your answer is A plus 2P is greater than 24, then you are correct. Number 2. The difference between the weight of Diana D and Princess P is at least 26. If your answer is D minus P is greater than or equal to 26, then you are correct. Number 3. A dozen of short pants S added to half a dozen of pajamas P has a total cost of not greater than 960 pesos. If your answer is 12S plus 6P is less than or equal to 960, then you are correct. Number 4. 5 times the length of a ruler R increased by 2 inches is less than the height of the nail H. If your answer is 5R plus 2 is less than H, then you are correct. To easily translate verbal statements into mathematical statements, we can use the following keywords. For the symbol, so the keywords are is greater than, is more than, exceeds, is over, is larger than, is longer than, and is higher than. Next symbol, so we have the keywords is less than, is under, is fewer than, is smaller than, is below, is shorter than, is lower than. And for this symbol, so we have is greater than or equal to, is at least, is not less than, is not under, has a minimum value, is more than or equal to. And for this symbol, is less than or equal to, is at most, is not greater than, does not exceed, has a maximum value, and is no more than. So we can now solve problems involving linear inequalities in two variables. So here are the steps. You have to define your variables. Then, write an inequality to model the situation. And for step number 3, you have to solve the inequality. So let us have now our first example. An online seller is selling washable face masks for 35 pesos each and face shields for 75 pesos each. Suppose that the number of face masks is 25. How many face shields does the seller need to sell to make at least 2,000 pesos? So using step number 1. So we have let X be the number of face masks and Y be the number of face shield. Since face masks cost 35 pesos each, so we have 35x as the amount of face mask. And face shield costs 75 pesos each, so we have 75y as the amount of face shield. Then, for step number 2, so we have 35x, which is the amount of face mask, plus the amount of face shield, which is 75y, is at least 2,000. Solving the inequality 35x plus 75y is greater than or equal to 2,000. Substituting the number of face masks, which is 25, will give you 35 times 25 plus 75y is greater than or equal to 2,000. So, multiply 35 and 25 will give you 875 plus 75y is greater than or equal to 2,000. Now, combine 875 and 2,000 by subtraction property, or in other words, ililipat lang natin yung 875 to the other side of the inequality. Then, we have now 75y is greater than or equal to 2,000 minus 875. So, 2,000 minus 875 is equal to 1,125. Then, divide both sides of the inequality by 75 will give you y is greater than or equal to 15. This means that the number of face shield is at least 15. Example number 2. The difference between Connie's height and Janel's height is not more than 1.5 feet. For the first question, what mathematical statement represents the difference in heights of Connie and Janel? Then, define the variable used. For letter B, based on the mathematical statement, you have given who is taller. And for letter C, suppose Connie's height is 5 feet and 3 inches. What could be the height of Janel? So let's now answer question letter A. What mathematical statement represents the difference in heights of Connie and Janel? Define the variable used. So we will let that C represents Connie's height and J represents Janel's height. So, Connie's height C, Janel's height J. Since we have the word difference, that means subtraction. So, C minus J. Then, is not more than, we will use this symbol, and 1.5 feet. So, therefore, the mathematical statement is C minus J is less than or equal to 1.5. Question letter B. Based on the mathematical statement you have given, who is taller? So from the statement, C minus J is less than or equal to 1.5. Sino sa palagay ninyo ang mas matangkad? Si Connie ba? O si Janel? So let's try to think about this. Kapag isinubtract natin yung height ni Janel from height ni Connie, so meron pang matitirang 1.5 or less than 1.5. So, ibig sabihin, we can now say that Connie is taller than Janel. For question letter C, suppose Connie's height is 5 feet and 3 inches. What could be the height of Janel? So let us think about this. 5 feet and 3 inches is equivalent to 5.25 feet. So paano nangyari yon? We just converted 3 inches into feet. So we have 3 over 12, or 3 divided by 12 is equivalent to 0.25. So we just added 0.25 to 5 feet. So we come up with 5.25. So using the inequality, 5.25 is Connie's height minus Janel's height is less than or equal to 1.5. So Janel's height now is less than or equal to 5.25 minus 1.5. Isusubtract lang natin. Okay? Then, Janel's height will now be less than or equal to 3.75. Or when we convert 0.75 into inches, that will be equivalent to 9 inches. That's why we have there 3 feet 9 inches, which is the height of Janel. So, Janel's height is less than or equal to 3 feet 9 inches. Next example. The total amount Jade paid for 5 kilos of rice and 2 kilos of fish is less than 600 pesos. So let us answer the following question. So let's now answer question letter A. What mathematical statement represents the total amount Jade paid? Define the variables used. So we will now let X be the amount of rice and Y be the amount of fish. Since we have 5 kilos of rice, that is 5x, 2 kilos of fish, that is 2y. Since we are talking about total amount, so we have plus, then is less than 600 pesos. So we have our inequality, 5x plus 2y is less than 600. So, let's now answer question letter B. Suppose a kilo of rice is 43 pesos. What would be the greatest cost of a kilo of fish to the nearest peso? So, we will use the inequality 5x plus 2y is less than 600. So, since the amount of kilo of rice is 43, that is x, so we will substitute 43 to the variable x. That will give you 43 times 5 plus 2y less than 600. So 43 times 5 will give you 215 plus 2y is less than 600. Then, combine 215 and 600. So para makombine natin, ililipat lang natin yung 215 to the other side of the inequality. So, it will become 2y is less than 600 minus 215. So, 600 minus 215 will give you 385. Then, divide both sides of the inequality by 2. So, y is less than 192.5, or that is 192 pesos and 50 centavos. Since we are looking for the greatest cost of a kilo of fish to the nearest peso, so you will have now the greatest cost of a kilo of fish to the nearest peso is 192 pesos. Ibig sabihin, mula doon sa na-solve natin na 192.5, the number or the amount of kilo of fish must be less than 192.5. That's why we have there 192 pesos. Question letter C. Suppose Jade paid more than 600 pesos and each kilo of rice cost 39 pesos. What could be the least amount she will pay for 2 kilos of fish to the nearest peso? Okay, since we have there more than, Jade paid more than 600 pesos, the inequality will become 5x plus 2y is greater than 600. Now, the amount of rice per kilogram is 39 pesos. So we will substitute 39 to the variable x. So we have 5 times 39 plus 2y is greater than 600. So simplifying 5 and 39 by multiplication, so we have there 195. Then combine 195 and 600. So ililipat natin yung 195 to the other side of inequality. And it will give you 2y is greater than 600 minus 195. Then subtract 600 minus 195 will give you 405. For this time, our answer will be 405 because we are looking for the amount of 2 kilos of fish to the nearest peso. So, ibig sabihin, hindi na natin i-divide by 2 yung inequality because 2y represents 2 kilos of fish. So, therefore, least amount of 2 kilos of fish to the nearest peso is 405. And now it's your turn. Get a paper or notebook and pen and solve this given problem. The total amount Donna paid for 2 kilos of beef and 3 kilos of fish is less than 700 pesos. Suppose a kilo of beef costs 280 pesos. What could be the maximum cost of a kilo of fish to the nearest peso? And that's for today, guys. Mag-practice at magtiyaga upang lalong maging galing. Again, this is Teacher Dali na nagsasabing, practice makes perfect. Thanks for watching!